Very good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak on 28th October 2020, we are launching another set of videos on our YouTube channel, and that is ETFs. ETFs stands for Exchange Traded Funds. When I speak about ETF, I need to appreciate one thing very clearly, that the largest market of the ETF is United States. In fact, it is not US also, Europe also. And when I speak about ETF, I need to appreciate that Federal Reserve is amongst limited central banks of the globe who not only understand ETF but also invested heavily in ETF. And this investment continues. There are, I think, 300 plus listed ETFs we have in US, and few of them are iShares, Vanguard, SPDR, Spider, and there are many. In fact, you would be surprised to know that many ETF players in US are having AUM, asset under management, equals to the AMC of India. So there are many AMC, asset under management companies. There are 44 AMCs we have in India. There are many ETF players we have in US whose AUM, asset under management, is equals to the total AUM of a single asset under management company in India. This is the power of ETFs. And I was planning to short that video from long, but somehow the time is always an essence and I was not getting the time. But now I have decided that my YouTube channel would be launching many videos pertaining to ETF in public domain. In fact, we are also launching a desk, ETF desk, on our fixed income platform, which keeps who keeps posting new things about ETF. As I speak about ETF, one thing which I wanted to make very clear is that ETF are generally compared with benchmark. And you would be surprised to know that today when I was talking to somebody, one of my friend, I asked him that what is your definition of benchmark? And guys, you would be surprised, he affrontly come to me and said that benchmark, Nifty Bank Nifty. I said, hey guys, benchmark is not Nifty Bank Nifty. They are indexes. Benchmark is Nifty 50 TRI. TRI stands for Total Return Index. Benchmark is Bank Nifty 12 TRI, Total Return Index. I'm not saying it can be Nifty 50, it could be Nifty 100, it could be Nifty 250, it could be Nifty mid cap, it could be Nifty small cap, it could be Nifty large cap. So we can have hundreds of benchmark. But when you invest in ETFs, first thing which you have to make very clear and absolute in your mind is that you have to compare your return in ETF with the benchmark. And when you talk about benchmark is not an index. So there are thousands of stocks which are listed in NSE, probably several hundred would list in another few years, right? Like we have 4 or 5 listings happened recently in NSE. Forget share price, right? Is NSE Nifty 50 is really a benchmark? No, it's an indice. Benchmark is Nifty 50 TRI. We can have various benchmarks. So when you invest in ETF, the first thing which you need to understand against which benchmark it is inclined. And finding that information in India and multiple countries is like finding a needle in a grass. Even though you will find that information, there are many young guns, those who do not know what to do with this information. So example, I have an equity ETF of any AMC. Okay, I will not name it. And it is, first of all, you will never get to know against which index it is inclined, which benchmark it is inclined. Even if you get to know, you will not have Reuters as well as Bloomberg who can tell you this is the return of the benchmark and this is the return of the basically the ETF and this is the delta. Forget the Sharpe ratio, absolute error, and all these advanced measures. That will never come in public domain. Another important thing we need to understand when it comes to ETF in Indian markets is the liquidity. Because even Singapore is not the most liquid market in ETFs of the globe. But US, no words. Absolute liquid market as far as the ETFs is concerned. In fact, guys, when I speak today, as we speak, although I'm yet to read this whole article in detail and it is already 2:30 in the morning Singapore, Federal Reserve revised their guidelines for riskier ETFs in US. See the market. There are countries in the world those who even do not know what ETF stands at, and there are countries in the world those who even making guidelines for the riskier ETFs. That's very important. Broadly speaking, ETFs are divided into four parts. Rather, I would say 5 to 6 parts. Number one is definitely the equity ETFs. Equity ETFs is divided into two parts, which is single equity ETFs or multi equity ETFs. Now, what is single equity ETFs? Example, just like any AMC is launching an ETFs, but it will only focus on small caps. No mid caps, no large caps. Multi equity, say 25% mid caps, 25% large caps, 25% small caps, and rest, all shares who are in action, irrespective. Second is the debt ETF. And I really doubt whether I have time to explain you about the debt ETF, but debt ETFs are the most powerful ETFs in the globe. You name iShares, Vanguard, VenECK, SPDR and all have, the debt ETFs. In fact, they are the leaders in debt ETF, to be honest. Third is the multi-asset ETF, which I have already shot a video on the multi-asset on our YouTube channel. You can see that. Multi-asset ETFs are like which cover 25% equity, 25% debt, 25% say gold and silver, and 25% another indices of the globe, say Nasdaq, can say Dow Jones, Standard & Poor, Singapore STI, and so on and so forth. But when I speak about the ETFs, we first need to understand three things very holistically. And that is, number one, the ETF, before investing into ETF as an investor, you should understand against which benchmark it is inclined to. And even though you have this information, you should have the ready resources to see whether these benchmarks, you can review these benchmarks or not. The unfortunate fact is that majority of the benchmarks are not in public domain, henceforth review of these benchmarks is very, very difficult and sometimes impossible. Second thing, you should understand the expense ratio. Theoretically speaking, ETFs are having little higher expense ratio than equity, but practically speaking, this little higher is sometimes more higher. That is another problem. Third problem in the ETF is, and that is most important problem, is the liquidity factor, which is really absent in India and Singapore, Malaysia, many countries. In the absence of liquidity factor, a relevant person is forced, to stick to that ETF even though he is in the losses. And fourth and very important thing in the ETF is the portfolio, which equities that relevant portfolio managers is taking. So guys, just to conclude, as this is our first ETF related video and many videos are on the cards now, we clearly need to understand that ETFs are always very important instruments for portfolio allocation. I am a person who believes that one should have at least 10% of his portfolio in ETF, but ETF require a very good quantum of research, rather regular research. Another thing in the ETF is that the liquidity factor is more important. And third thing in the ETF is that one should not invest in ETF if the delta factor is missing. Example, if I look at the last 1 year returns from an Indian angle, the ETFs have generated returns of 6.38%, while the index funds generated 5.7% and benchmark generated 6.55%. And how much mutual fund generated? 6.5 to 7%. Then why should I invest in ETF? Because delta factor is zero. That's very important. That is it. The point which I always stressed on my YouTube channel and in my seminars, in my lectures, in my videos, I will stress this again. The young generation which is coming up, the young guns I call them, these young guns needs to understand the importance of ETFs. These young guns needs to understand and learn ETFs in detail. These young guns needs to understand how ETF work. Maybe several countries in the Southeast Asian region do not have an active ETF market, but I think ETF can be a more holistic way of making your portfolio complete. But the unfortunate fact we have in India and many Southeast Asian countries is that as the knowledge level in the ETF is absolutely poor, even if you try and explain people, they outrightly reject it because they themselves do not know how exactly it works. And that is one of the reasons why ETF market is not growing. Like as I speak, I have the data. In September 2020, the ETF market, including bond ETF, which is also known as fixed income ETF, but excluding gold ETF, is around 1,70,000 crores. September 2020. So it's the latest figure. While the mutual funds is roughly closer to 30 lakh crores. And let me have calculator. $17.64 times, which precisely means that if 1 rupee is going in mutual fund, there are around 17.64 rupees which are going, 1 rupee is going in ETF. It means 17.64 times it goes in mutual funds. And this gap is widening, So the basic reason is the knowledge factor in the ETF. And everyone is responsible for this. Business schools are responsible for this. The regulators are responsible for this. People themselves are responsible for this. Media is responsible for this. And more importantly, the ETF player, those who are not spearheading more information into the public domain. But now there is no need to worry. I started my YouTube channel in 2014. I first started shooting FX videos. They are still coming. Then we moved to several portfolio related videos. Now we are shooting stock related videos, regulatory related videos, and I assure you the time has come when Treasury Consulting to enter into ETF market. And I am going to be covering ETF holistically from US angle, Europe angle, and probably the Singaporean angle. But one thing I'm sure that ETF is amongst the finest instrument as far as the portfolio construction is concerned and would continue. This is Rahul from Treasury Consulting. You know our WhatsApp 9818485155. And very soon, not this year, next year, Treasury Consulting will think of launching a video course on ETF. Have a great day.